Right, so moving on to monitoring and automation. So obviously once you've built your Azure environment, you need to know what's going on within that environment, and that's really where Azure Monitor comes in. So the Azure Monitor name covers a number of different underlying technologies. I kind of simplified it all down, but really you're talking about things like log analytics, alerting, application insights. And what it really allows you to do is monitor pretty well anything that you deploy across the Azure environment. So resources like networking and network security groups, load balancers, you can send diagnostic data back to log analytics. If you want to pull in metrics from virtual machines, you can install an agent on there, and then you can get functionality like disk space, CPU, memory utilization, even pull things back from event logs and send those back to log analytics. You've got Azure Monitor for containers, which will give you a really nice overview if any of you are using AKS, so Azure Kubernetes Service. Definitely recommend enabling Azure Monitor for containers. It'll give you a really nice graphical dashboard of what's going on within your Kubernetes cluster. You can see the individual pods and containers and all the metrics from there. At an application level, you can use application insights, and that will drill down into your web application, for example, and allow you to see any HTTP error codes, response times for your application, all sorts of metrics around the dependencies that your application's talking to. And that can be done via using the Application Insight SDK in your code, or by enabling, there's an agent that you can run on virtual machines as well. And then other things that you can feed into there are things like Azure Activity Logs. You can feed back into your log analytics, and this allows you to then create queries and alerts on certain metrics. So, for example, if you're feeding back in virtual machine information, you might want to alert if updates are out of date, or antivirus is disabled, or CPU goes above 75%. But equally, you can do things like if there's suspicious activity from your activity logs, generate alerts on that. And that can go out to either text message or email, or feed into something like ServiceNow, an ITSM system, which is what we do, for our managed service customers. Moving on to the sort of automation aspect, you can use Azure Automation for cost savings. So that'd be shutting down, VMs out of hours if you want to minimize costs. We recommend using Azure Automation for update management as well. So you can patch Windows and Linux VMs in Azure, or actually public clouds, other public clouds, or on-premise. And that allows you to schedule updates to be downloaded, and then you can schedule reboot times for your virtual machines. And that works really well. Another part of Azure Automation is DSC, so that's desired state configuration, and that will allow you to specify a specific configuration, and then force a server to check in and pull down that configuration and configure itself. So it could be something like specific Windows Server roles that you need to enable, or the installation of a certain application. And that can either be a one-time configuration, or you can schedule virtual machines to recheck back in at a periodic time. And then if someone's made other changes in the meantime, it would revert back to that specified configuration. So lots of things you can do around the automation piece as well, to control your environment.